What I was going to say is I think the most important element of everything we talk about on our show, and this is something so important to us as doctors, is when you start each and every day, that's when you're setting the tone for that day. So this idea of 5-minute health fixes, it really does start first thing in the morning. So clap your hands if you like water.
And that's why I'm addicted.
Clap your hands if you're addicted to diet soda.
Hey, see, there's some people out there. Go ahead.
So I want to talk briefly, because one of my personal missions in life is to get people to replace some of the sugar-laden beverages that, on average, we drink 450 calories a day in this country. So not only is all the added sugar a detriment to your health, but a lot of other substances, caffeine, etc., can be found in these drinks. So many people, they've done studies, many people are drinking less than a glass or so of water a day, which can lead to low levels of chronic dehydration. And we profiled an interesting study on the show which showed if you're chronically dehydrated, everything's working harder, including your heart. So one of the things I do in the morning is I keep a pitcher of filtered water in my fridge, and I use flavored water. So for me, it's citrus. I have to have lemons, oranges, limes. I don't like cucumbers, so I don't go that route, but I'm sure you had some this morning.
It was up, actually, I had a fruit smoothie. Beautiful.
Really?
Yeah.
Man,
See, I try and decrease my soda.
You know, Travis, and I'm going to say in this open forum that you really are what you preach, and I think it's rubbed off on all of us. I think all of us over the 3 years we've been together have certain things that I would like to think have positively impacted, but you know, you have some things that you really believe strongly about, and you stick to it. And I think that's great. That's probably more so than the rest of us on the show. That's your role, really, to tell people everywhere worldwide little things that they should be doing and can do to lead a healthier life.
So my tip there is, if you're someone who does wake up first thing in the morning and you reach for a soda instead of water, or soda instead of, we're going to talk about coffee here in a minute, go ahead and find a substitute. Flavored seltzer water, something that you can start your day off right on the right foot, because it really is that first decision that makes a huge impact on the way you're going to live.
And that seltzer water is kind of nice for the people that are addicted to soda, for the bubbles, for the fizz. Getting the seltzer with a little added orange or lime, you know.
Right.
Lime's a good way.
And Travis is really very, very healthy, and I'm always the one with the diet soda, and I'm the reality factor here. I'm not giving up on my diet soda, but I am decreasing it.
Yeah, you have to cut back.
Yeah, with the flavored water, and also diluting it with ice. So do your soda over ice, because it really, you can cut it down by half. We know it's not good for us, but we know, embrace some of your faults too, and know that if I'm not going to cut it out, at least I'm going to cut it down, and that's really, really helpful.
Yeah, because you mentioned 450 extra calories a day. That's huge.
20% of our calories.
Yeah, I mean that's if you do that every year, that's like an extra 30 or 40 pounds you got to have some deal with. So, but you mentioned water. This is a little different. I love to be in the water, on the water, boating, surfing, all that. But you got to worry about the sun, right? Make sure we talk about sunscreen, how important it is. But it's also important to get a little bit of sunlight without sunscreen. Just 3 to 5 minutes a day, even if it's just the time you spend walking across the parking lot. If your face is exposed and your arms are exposed, that can actually boost your serotonin levels just enough to help you feel good. You get that positive mental attitude, and it's especially important during the winter time. I don't know about you guys, but as soon as I change the clocks back, as daylight saving time is gone, sunset is before dinner time, I get depressed. You get that winter blues.
Right.
And can I make a comment? Clap your hands if you're not from California. Everyone from California, your idea of winter is summer. So winter.
That's when
It's not sunny every day. How about today?
Yeah, right.
But actually, they've been showing that a lot, especially women, are vitamin D deficient, and this is the whole new thing.
Oh, yeah.
And
This is
listen
huge.
up, and men too. you should be getting screened for vitamin D deficiency. And if you're deficient, then you need to take supplements. But they're finding more and more, and actually, it's become a new parameter to screen pregnant women for vitamin D deficiency because it helps with the baby's bones.
Yeah. Vitamin D this is a huge thing in the last couple of years that we've learned. I think 50 to 60% of us, all of us, are vitamin D deficient, probably because we're using so much sunscreen. So we're, skin cancer is down, but all these other problems are up.
It is very important to put sunscreen on everywhere, including the hands, because the hands have such a high incidence of skin cancer as well. But, like you said.
Yeah, and you can get, you mentioned you can take it as a supplement, and certain foods are fortified with vitamin D, but where you really get the most vitamin D is the sunlight. Your skin actually manufactures its own vitamin D just from the energy of the sun, and it's important. It's more than just bone health, because that's, vitamin D is big for bone health, but it also helps prevent certain types of cancer, especially breast cancer and colon cancer. Helps prevent heart disease and diabetes. So, these are some of the things. Back in medical school, we had no idea that vitamin D was so important.
And it all ties in, and such a big theme we talk about in the book, we talk about on TV every day, is what is the single biggest health crisis we have in America, probably worldwide too, is obesity. And we know that obesity leads to high blood pressure, heart problems, diabetes. And my tip, a great tip, which I'm doing, and we just had a little fun with it at lunch, is make sure that you chew each bite of food 10 to 20 times. And this all stems from a British Journal of Medicine article. It was a Japanese study, and they showed that if you actually take time to chew your food, which we're all guilty of this time to time, not chewing our food, that you can actually reduce your risk of obesity by 54%. I've made my last 30 years of my life, I've made my living sucking fat out of people, but I've sucked a lot of fat. But being on this show has really made me rethink a lot of things as a plastic surgeon, and not just a beauty doctor, but preventative. I would never say that liposuction is meant as a diet, as a substitute to diet and exercise. It's only a last resort for figure faults, and everything else hasn't worked. So try this, and why it works chewing your food, that you're going to feel full much sooner.
Because you're eating slower, essentially, right?
You're eating slower, and a couple tricks to help you eat slower. If you're eating alone, which I'm trying to do now, read something. Because if you're reading something, you're less likely to gobble it down. And another thing we talk about 5-minute tips is get into a great conversation every day with somebody that's close to you. Try to take your meal time as a time to have that conversation while you're listening. You're not supposed to chew and talk at the same time, but take that time while you're listening to the person that you're having that conversation with. Chew that food 10 to 20 times.
2 places not to eat. Number 1, behind the wheel. And this is for 2 reasons. As an ER doctor, a lot of the accidents I see, now obviously more due to alcohol, but it can be as simple as trying to rearrange the lid on your soda. You take your eyes off the road, that's dangerous. But while you're trying to multitask and drive and talk on the phone and you're eating your fast food meal, you're ingesting so many more calories, no matter how slowly you take those bites. But the other place not to eat your meals is in front of the TV. We call that mindless eating. And the problem with that is, again, I would never begrudge someone if you want to enjoy popcorn when you're watching the big game or you're going to the movies. I understand that. But to make it a habit every night to go sit in front of the TV and eat your dinner, what does happen is all the signals that your body is supposed to give you, visual clues, you end up ignoring them. And before you know it, you've eaten 2-3 times as much as you're supposed to before that 20-minute signal that our gut sends our brain registers. And so whether it's sitting at the dinner table with your family, engaging in conversation, talking between bites, just as much as possible, don't eat in the car and don't eat in front of the TV.
And it typically happens 2 times. Either you're about ready to eat something that you love so much that you just want to do it quickly, or you're so hungry. And another tip that we talk about is make sure that you eat twice as often, but half as much each time. That's another great
I like grazing.
Works. Grazing.
Grazing.
I like that.
Kind of grazing all day.
Like a cow.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?